I don't want to be too clickbaity or too dishonest with this video. I think part of the trade-off with all of this stuff is that I have to maintain a level of honesty with you guys, but kind of keeping a playful, you know, relationship between us. So sorry for the clickbaity thumbnail. I really liked the new designs that we saw from the sketches for the newest Road to Laugh Tale. And if you want to know about Yamato and stuff, you know, ultimately I think that she might be some version of Fenrir in a crazy way. But on Discord, actually, which is where this video is mainly stemming from, my good friend Elson has a ton of theories about Yamato. And if anyone has figured her out, it is him. So I'll leave a link in the description to the Paravision Discord where this conversation got started. And basically this video is mostly going to be, I think, kind of something that you've never seen in the YouTube community before. I've never really seen a video like this talking about something like this, but this video is going to be a theory about how to interpret and maybe a new way to look at the whole picture at once. And just, you know, I'm going to show you some examples, show you some craziness, and, you know, judge for yourself. I really do not know, you know, all the answers and all that stuff, but I do think I have categorized a lot of the ways that we can all work together to get them. And that's what this video is mainly going to be about. And then I am going to touch on something that I've never heard someone else talk about before. But, you know,
Sir? The last thing I expected.
Sometimes you just have to bow to the absurd.
In retrospect, it seems very obvious to me, but I don't know why, you know, we've never done it. But there's lots of things to me that, like, you know, just seems to have gone totally unnoticed. Like, in the Jaya Island map, there's, like, very obviously a 1 in it. Like, what does that mean? So, just tons of weird things that I think, you know, you don't even need these clues to really, you know, get them. You just need to look at the pages, and that's what all of this stuff's going to be about today. Just looking at the pages, and a really cool, interesting new way to do that if you feel like getting funky. So with this video, we're just going to be going into some of the crazier things, or the crazier ways that I might interpret or view some clues. And I think that Oda works in multiple levels, and I think he mainly works on 7, just like the Grand Line.
Are you believing the mainstream media these days, Charlie? Because...
Oh, no.
Okay.
I get all my information from my own subconscious.
Fair.
He works, number 1,
You have the bridge, number 1.
with numbers. Clues with numbers, chapter titles. There's tons of great channels with that, but all the number puns and everything, I think that's one level of the clues. And I think it works the rest of it like the ABCs. We get the A-level clues, which are for scholars. And I say that kind of jokingly, but it's just clues that deal with language, linguistics, and history. You can use the logo to trace letters and origin shapes and all these things all the way back to tree languages and, you know, the winds talking to each other. And I think that's one of the level of the clues, is just the scholarly route where you can really use a lot of, you know, go to the library, pick out a book on a subject, and you will find stuff on One Piece when you're looking for it, when you know what to look for. That's the A level. Then we get B, the bookworm level. This level, I think, is for people that read stories all the time. If you've read every single story and you know every single little trick, and that's one level of it, but even just knowing the origins of fairy tales and myths and all sorts of things like that, you can piece together a lot of the clues, obviously. The next level, I think, is the C level, and the C level clues, I think, are just crazy. And for this, I just kind of classify them as being able to translate the SBS questions, because there's so much stuff going on in those that once you can actually figure out how to read them with the chapters and with the covers they're attached to, it opens up a whole new world. The D level, now I think this one's a little bit tricky, because I think that ultimately it means like dough, like duh, which I think is for clues that are so obvious upon further review and looking back and introspection that it's just, you know, duh, I should have known the whole time. Damn, I should have known the whole time. And I think that part of that is the idea that they're clues like the logo with the G and stuff, and they're clues that really anyone could pick up on just looking at it if they just clear their mind enough or whatever. And so I think that the D level is the D for dough, but also for the hidden E in the D sound for everyone. Then we have the F level, which the F level I was stuck on for a while because it's I think where he might have some of the most fun, which is where he puts deliberately false clues in there to get you to think the wrong thing and see the wrong stuff. And that's, I think, the F levels for failure, all that stuff, fraud. But I actually think this one has a hidden half of it too. They all probably have hidden halves and stuff to them. But I think another part of this clue is funny, because Ichiro Oda is really, really funny when it comes down to it, and he's a conspiracy nut, and he's all these things, and he's such a funny conspiracy nut that he's made the answers to a lot of his deepest mysteries in his series so crazy that when you tell someone it, they look at you like you just told them you met Bigfoot, or you've been abducted by aliens. He really has taken it to a new level of just, hey, I'm gonna make the answer this, and it's actually really obvious sometimes, but if if you're not there yet, it just sounds like the stupidest, craziest thing you've ever heard. And that's why I really do not like telling people the theories are stupid or whatever. There's lots of things that I might not see in this moment, but 2 months from now, it's like, oh man, that person was right. I just didn't see the time. That is what I think happens all the time, and I think that Oda's a master of that. So that's, I think, what the F stands for. And then the last category is what we're going to be talking about in this video, which I think is the G category. The G level of clues, being a G, all that stuff.
And wait for the wolf, who should be coming directly.
You sending the wolf?
You feel better, motherfucker?
Shit, Negro. That's all you had to say.
But I think in this case, it means grand, as in the time you have when you're seeing a magician. Now I could bog this video down with other things like, reading the story by twos to get the truth. If you read every single panel, every second panel, that will reveal the truth. And if you want to try, I recommend you try it yourself. If you do it right on chapter 1, you will end on this page. If you read by 2 every panel, and you will get a whole different version of the story than you do reading chapter 1 the first time. And I know that on the surface that sounds like duh, but really, if you're interested, give it a shot. There's tons of lies going on. All this stuff we're going to get into is the kind of stuff that really kind of made me realize, like, when Oda says that he's had the last chapter planned out for forever, it's because he already showed it to us in the first chapter. And I'll have future videos going all about that, but this one we're just going to look at page 1, and we're going to try something that's probably really, really crazy, and that's what most of my videos have been about. So let's just look at the page through light. Now remember, a manga page is printed on 2 sides, front and back, so they do exist together. So the idea of just looking at one page and not the page it's connected to me kind of seems like it might be against the idea of one piece and seeing the whole picture. And up until recently, and honestly it's actually easier on a tablet or a computer, but until recently most manga was drawn on paper with a light box underneath. And this is an extremely easy thing to do when you're sketching, when you're drawing, when you're doing anything, to put the pages together under the light box and look at them. And draw things lined up to each side, maybe. And to me, putting them together was just kind of the next logical step of trying things out. Well, I tried it out and I started seeing crazy things, and then I went to berserk. Because everything that Luffy is doing, Kentaro Miura was doing, and maybe taught him in some form, through the art form of manga. And I say that because there's panels like this where Kentaro Miura reveals that he knows every single big secret about One Piece, and he puts it as a joke. And then I was already trying some stuff because I think there's a lot that can be gained from reading some pages upside down and backwards. Which basically works because when you remove the natural ingrained meaning of language and images and symbols on a page from your mind by turning it upside down, you allow yourself to be able to pick up on other details that were not noticeable when you were looking at it the right way, with quotation marks. Lots of things pop out when you turn it upside down because your brain's able to let go of all those restrictions that you spend all day when you're reading words right side up and you're reading signs on the street and all these things. Turn it upside down, you remove those meanings that are ingrained in your head, and things might start to pop out at you. I was doing that, and then it kind of hit me with the name Baylit. Be he lit refers to a ton of loaded stuff from the Bible that I have videos coming out on later. Just for this, the idea, be he lit. Let's light up the page. Let's see what happens. And honestly, this way works the best using candles. So I have to imagine that it's ancient. And the rest of this video, we're just gonna look at. You decide for yourself. I know it's crazy. I really don't care. It is not the main thing I use for theory crafting. It is just one tool in the toolbox for me. But I've gotten a lot of comments on with the recent vids, and some people like it. And I was actually, I just joined the Paravision Discord and was having a great discussion with some people on there about, you know, this look through the light method. And from that conversation, it was like, you know what, why don't I just make a video kind of with that idea, the theory of if this is a valid method of trying to read manga, I guess is what this video is ultimately going to be about. So let's smash that like button if you haven't, and please subscribe and share the video if you like it, and you know some people that want to get a little crazy. And if you try it out yourself at home, please leave a comment on what you find. My name is 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛𝚒, and this is my theory on a new type of interpretation that is maybe the oldest type of interpretation, looking through the light. Now, with my channel, I'm not trying to make anybody, you know, subscribe to the same ideas and be forced to view the same things that I do. I am going to show you the same things that I do, but I'm just trying to connect the dots and, you know, what I see that might be there. Ultimately, judge for yourselves. So I'm just going to take you down the same path that I took, and that started at the first page of the One Piece manga. I was looking at, and long story, months and months and months short, thousands of readings and rereadings of the first chapter later. I'm looking at that first page and I'm like, there must be fucking something about this page that I'm just missing. And then, I don't know why, I just held it up to the light. I just held it up to the lamp that I had and I was like, oh, holy shit. As you can see, it looks really, really crazy. Now, there's a whole nother level of this where it's a whole ATEP ritual thing for tablets of safety and sacrifice and all these ritual things and that might be going on this page. But just looking at it, without any of that stuff, looks like there's a lot going on. And when you realize that Oda kind of uses a very ancient form of symbolism when it comes to fire, and he uses the idea of flint and steel to be fire, a lot of this page is really, really crazy. And then we even get, like, you know, the Nami stuff that the treasure might be in a heart, and the idea maybe that heart or core is frozen right now comes to my mind. But just tons of stuff here. And then when you really get next level with it, you can see the eyeball in the belly button. And I know it's a belly button, but to me, it's always struck me as really weird in 𝚑𝚙𝚎 when Luffy just hated that 𝙲𝚘 thing that everyone kept saying. 𝙲𝚘 means in Japanese belly button, and it also means navel, which always makes me think of the Navy and stuff. But, well, it's because of this thing, and there's a whole hand getting stopped, and this is the, you know, the first page of Volume 1. This page really kind of went crazy for me. And so, okay, if you have the volume at home, I recommend you do it. It does work best under candlelight. Actually works very, very hardly if you use sunlight. It's almost too bright, which I think is also a clue about, you know, what dawn could be, especially with how the Egyptians viewed it. And I hear what you're saying. It's you know, it's normal because pages are printed and they're connected and stuff. And I agree with you. And I think that's kind of part of the point. It's so ingrained in it, you don't even think about it being a clue. The idea that this could correlate to something, I agree with you. I was very hesitant to really lean in on this too much and rely on it for clues. So like I said, I do lots of things to figure out the story and interpret and read all that stuff, but I really kind of just started going to like specific scenes and just seeing how things lined up. So let's take that 𝚑𝚙𝚎 map that's so famous and just see what shines through. Now, just starting off up top, you can see that through the page behind it, the two markings on the side, the 𝚑𝚙𝚎 S and then the star compass part, both line up directly with Robin and Nami's eyes. And I think that those two characters have a lot going on behind the scenes that I'm not saying that they are aware of, but a lot of things are happening. But we get a pretty crazy thing of that, and then it kind of looks like Luffy's an old person in the middle to me, which makes sense, but I cannot possibly describe that all in this moment. But also kind of like, you know, we get a little hint of missing the tooth thing, but also that it could be like a torn out page. And I think that the idea of maybe a cover of a adventure book being torn out from the rest of the book and trying to make its way back in some weird, crazy, abstract way could be something that's getting played with on some level for Oda. And everything else seems to line up with Usopp and barrels and all these things that you have to check out my Big Saki video for a little bit of parts. I don't really touch on the Usopp stuff or anything like that, or nor am I saying anything about that here, but just this was another really, you know, crazy page to me. And then the last kind of cool page from One Piece that I'm going to touch on in this video is one from recent, and it's the opposite page of the cover of 958. I really don't think this page gets talked about at all for how important and weird it looks. But in my 𝚘𝚙𝚒𝚑𝚝 video, I kind of go over the idea of, you know, maybe the idea of the cosmic hunt being talked about with the stars, and maybe the stars have been recorded in some way. And to me, this black goo right here with stars coming out of it, and right after they found the One Piece treasure, is kind of a big clue on its own. And if that wasn't enough, at the bottom of the page, there is a spider crawling into Roger's drink. And I'm going to be coming out with a video this weekend more about this stuff, but the idea of having a recorded trap of something of light or whatever, I think kind of makes sense on some level, because sound does not travel between air and water to air, like very well or at all. So this something, you know, having trapped a recording, which would be a star, because when we see stars, you know, they're light years away, and we're just seeing, you know, kind of a past image of that light and all those crazy things. I think that this idea really fits without any of this, you know, magic stuff, combined with the idea that we know 𝚘𝚘𝚒𝚑𝚝 turns into skib web, so this web that traps ships also is clearly highlighted on this page too, because there's a spider crawling into Roger's drink, but we'll get to that. When you look through the light, things kind of get really crazy. We get this scary looking thing. Now this thing is almost haunting my dreams sometimes, because it is in lots of bad places. I just saw a video from Marshall D. Preach where he talked about the Sabo hat, and I don't agree with most of the video, but I do agree that that hat thing is a symbol. And you can kind of see it here. Now, I know it's the guy's hair, but when we're just looking through the one page with the way it lines up with everything, to me, it reminds me a lot of this Thriller Bark moment. And looking through that page, very similar vibes here. And you have to check out my 𝚘𝚘𝚒𝚑𝚝 video for what I think is going on with that. Shameless plug. But it gets even crazier, because when you just look at this page really closely, you see that there's a spider crawling up Roger's hand, coming directly from, it looks like, Corcus. When you look through the page at where that part is, it's over 𝚘𝚙𝚒𝚑𝚝 begs, I never know how to say his name. And I think that he's a massive part of what's coming soon, or at least his devil fruit power is. But this whole thing, just chock full of clues and just cool things, but, you know, let me know what you think of it. You know, tell me in the comments what you think, please. And, you know, I've been reading manga most of my life, you know, over 20 years or so, and I feel like I've just kind of, all these manga artists and art that I love and all these series, I've only really been looking at one dimension of them, I feel like now, and it's really almost like we've only given them credit for being good on one side of the page when it is otherworldly on both sides of the page. You know, it's almost like we have limited these artists to just one dimension of their talent, when, you know, it's writing, it's drawing, it's lining up, it's everything. And I really wanted to keep this video under 10 minutes, but since we're already gone, I'll end on one of the coolest pages that I've seen. When you read this stuff, you know, at least to me, there seems to be a flow and a pattern to the way to read the words. And if this video does well, or people respond to it well, I will do future videos on more on how to read this, because I've been showing you the pictures and all this stuff, but there's the words connect and everything. It's really otherworldly. It is immaculate design. But it is this page is the page before we meet Weevil, and when you read it in this through the light way, it pretty much comes to the point of, it's like, how much do you think I can control, is what this page is saying. And then we see Kizaru controls, on the page behind it, the hail and rain that's coming down. And his foot kicks directly into this fish, and his points down to there. I mean, crazy. Judge for yourself. To me, this page kind of highlights the idea that there's at least one party behind the strings pull and everything. But I think that is throughout the story in ways that you know, I think a lot of people aren't ready for. And I do not by any means think that I've made up this at all or anything. I think it's something that we've been supposed to be doing for a long time. Maybe it's been hidden. And but unlike Roger, I actually want to name it, because I feel like I am the first person to bring this to YouTube, you know, at least in America or something. So I'd like to name it from in honor of Kentaro Miura from Berserk, the Be-He-Lit method. The Be-He-Lit, and we just means light up the page. So that's gonna do it. I guess, like I said, I wanted to keep this below 10 minutes. I guess I meant below 20 minutes. My name is 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚒𝚑𝚝. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment what you think of the video. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.